Hello students, welcome to Current Affairs Practice MCQs. Our idea is to cover current affairs from pre-point of view, pre-2023. Okay, and we'll be doing current affairs from the month of June 2022. So basically previous year's current affairs through MCQs we are doing. So June 2022 to at least April 2023. Okay, so that is my idea. So first we want to do this, and in about a week we will be doing the complete 1 month of current affairs. So it's a highly filtered MCQs that you're going to get from various sources. So this should help you with your preparation, give you a sense of confidence. That is the idea, and trying to interlink with more possible questions. So this is today's June part 1, and I'll be discussing 15 odd questions today. So let's move on to the first question. The term HRMN 99 recently seen in news is related to which of the following? Fine. So HRMN 99. Now this HRMN 99, as you can see this image over here, it is basically an apple variety which can grow in plain, tropical and subtropical areas. This is what makes it important. Apple keeps growing. There are so many varieties of apple, but apple grows in hilly areas. It requires chilling conditions. So, but this apple can grow in low altitude at 1800 feet. So 1800 feet is nothing. So at this height, it can grow and does not require chilling hours. So it can grow up to this. It can grow in plain, tropical and subtropical areas. Okay, so this is the fruit apple. And this fruit is ready to harvest in early June, and it is tolerant to scab disease. Okay, fine. So this is the information. Now, naturally, we are calling it as HRMN because it is actually meaning Hariman selection or Hariman selection. So Hariman has identified this crop. He has cultivated it. So therefore, this plant, this plantation, this fruit is known after him, HRMN 99. Okay. Now we should know more about the scab disease also, biology static. So from that point of view, we can look at this topic. So what is the scab disease? So I have two informations over here, and you can see this crop over here with this infected part over here. Okay, so first, this is the more authentic kind of the information. So scab is a fungus that affects the leaves and nuts and also the fruits, and is one of the most common and serious pecan diseases. So that means that scab is coming under a group of diseases known as the pecan diseases. So, questions can be asked from here also, more detailed information. It is caused by fungus Cladosporium carigenum. Cladosporium carigenum. So again, so spores are coming. In the name itself, you can see the spores over winter on the tree and becomes active in spring. Fine. So this is one. The second is from Wikipedia, actually. That's why I said less authentic one. So scab in botany is any of several bacterial or fungal diseases characterized by crustaceous lesions on fruits. So this basically means crustaceous lesions on fruit. Fine. So mostly it is fungus. It is this fungus over here. It's coming under the branch of pecan diseases. But if somebody says bacterial or fungal, and if the statements are such, then we can go with that option also. So it depends on how the question is framed. We have to choose accordingly. Second question. Again, this is a bit tricky. I'll tell you why. But first, let's do the question. The UVA program recently seen in news is related to. There are two UVA programs. That is why it is tricky. So 2 programs. But this UVA program that we are talking about is about author mentorship program. So it's about author mentorship program. It is known as the PM UVA. The other UVA program is about entrepreneurship. So it's about entrepreneurship over here. Now, when we look at the options over here, it is one is skill development project for the youth under age 35. So skill develop entrepreneurship is different. Creating awareness among adults related to diverse cultures of states, no. Strengthening e-learning infrastructure, no. So with entrepreneurship, we don't have that option. So only thing that is left is author mentorship program. Because this UVA program itself is known as the PM UVA. Fine. So that's why. Now let us read more about the PM UVA. What was the theme? This is UVA 2.0 actually. There was UVA, obviously first UVA, then UVA 2.0. So that means every year there is a new iteration of the UVA program. So what is the theme of that UVA program? So all those things we will see. So this is obviously, I got it from the PIB over here. So UVA literally stands for, PM UVA stands for Prime Minister's Scheme for Young, Upcoming, Versatile Authors. Fine. And it is the nodal agency for this is National Book Trust of India. So this is the nodal agency, which is an autonomous body under Ministry of Education. Fine. So yeah, this is it. Okay. What is the task? I have already elaborated. It's about to mentor budding young writers below the age of 30 years. Again, a very important piece of information. Below the age of 30 years. So this can be tweaked. This information can be tweaked. A statement-based question can be asked. So this is the previous years actually. So the theme of this, the writers were to write on this. This was like a competition. So the theme was Unsung Heroes, Freedom Fighters, National Movement. The theme for the present UVA 2.0, which is known as UVA 2.0, is democracy. So if you look now, you will find it about democracy and various things associated with democracy. The authors are supposed to write on it. And from there, based on their talent, authors will be selected. And then they will be mentored, they would be nurtured. And whatever they write, they will get some royalty on that. They can earn up to 50,000 per month. Right. So this is it. This is UVA 1.0. This was difficult to find actually. UVA 2.0, I was able to find the information more easily. So I have not put it over here. All I want to say is it's about democracy. This page over here tells us more information about the scheme in a very pictorial way. Okay. It is published books to be launched on 12th January 2022 on UVA Divas. So when is UVA Divas? 12th January 2022. And if somebody can please mention in the comment section, why is UVA Divas celebrated? Something didn't occur to my mind back then when I was doing this. So if somebody can please elaborate this in the comment section, it will be great. Okay. Now coming on to the other UVA, the UVA program. So this is about creating an enabling ecosystem for entrepreneurship. So it is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So it will promote entrepreneurship, education, training, advocacy. Advocacy means making a case for something, not legal advocacy. It's about making a case, about promoting the idea of entrepreneurship. So catching these, students, etc., at a younger age and inculcating in them the virtues of entrepreneurship, guiding the youth in how they can take on entrepreneurship and then eventually create jobs for the people. So entrepreneurship is a very important theme for job creation for any government that has been there. Okay. So the scheme focuses on students, trainees, and alumni coming out of out from skilling ecosystem, that is ITIs, polytechnics, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendras, Jan Shikshan Sanstha. So all of this. So under this, there will be mobilization campaigns organized to spread awareness through entrepreneurship as a career. So that is the idea. Fine. So that's what I'm saying, that both are PM Yuva actually, but so we have to be very careful while reading the option. So that's important. That's why I said this is tricky. Okay. Next question. With reference to the Chief Secretary of State, consider the following statements. Now this may be looking to you like a static thing, which it is actually. But there was a controversy about Chief Secretary in Bengal. That's why I'm asking this. We have this question over here. Okay. And students tend to make mistakes when questions of this type comes in the pre-exam, and there is a lot of debate after the paper. So let's go through this. So this Chief Secretary of the state, she is the chairman of the State Disaster Management Authority. No, it is the Chief Minister. And at the national level, it is the Prime Minister. Fine. So he's not the chairperson. The tenure of Chief Secretary is fixed by an executive order. Again, no. They don't have a fixed tenure. Imagine any bureaucrat, they don't have a fixed. They may be transferred from one place to another. Maybe the government changes, maybe the mood changes, whatever. It's not a fixed tenure. It's accepted that, okay, the tenure would be about 2 to 3 years, but it is not fixed. So it is not fixed. That is the important point. And we're talking about bureaucracy over here. So logically also, even if we haven't studied this, we should be able to do this. This from your Vision IAS environment or Shankar IAS environment, there again, disaster management is explained. This thing is covered over there also. Okay. So this is it. So what is the answer now? Both are no. So D, neither, 1 nor 2. Now, one more important thing when you're doing these questions, do make this habit of writing no, false, whatever, so that you don't make mistakes when the question comes, which of the following is not correct. Next question. Endosulfur. So we are on 4th question now actually. Endosulfur, which is frequently seen in the news, it is a very, very controversial insecticide. Now, I think you should be able to do this. The question arises herbicide and insecticide. So this is an insecticide because both side, it's about killing, it's for plants. So this is an insecticide. So more on this thing now, more information on this. So endosulfur is an off-patent, that is, it is no longer exclusive, organochlorine insecticide and acaricide. So it is organochlorine, right? And acaricide. What is acaricide? It is basically insecticide for mites. Insects, mites, yeah. So ants. Okay. Now the problem with this is that it has seen to, it has some problems, like it is very, very toxic. In fact, in Kerala, it had happened that some neurological disorders were seen amongst children. Then it is an endocrine disruptor. Then there is always a possibility of bioaccumulation. So it has very adverse effects on the human health. In fact, this is banned under the Stockholm Convention. See, this is information of 2011. So ban has taken effect in mid-2022, 2012. Now, what is Stockholm Convention full form? It is Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants. And this is an organic pollutant. That is why Stockholm Convention has been talked about. Fine. So this is it, endosulfur over here. So you can see it's not just June actually, something that 2 years ago, this thing is still being used actually, sadly. One day ago, some Guardian Nigeria, somewhere or the other, it is there in the news. Sub-judge's report to Supreme Court exposes Kerala government's half-truths on healthcare facilities. 12 days ago. These are today morning's screenshots. Okay, next question. What is the purpose of evolved laser interferometer space antenna? ELISA. By the way, there are two ELISA. One is ELISA and one is this one. This is about antibody tests. I think during COVID, you must have heard about this thing, ELISA test. Or when you have a disease, this is to identify, for allergy or something, this test is recommended and it is very expensive. So one is this, other is this. So this laser interferometer is about gravitational waves. I think you can reject C and D outrightly. Effectiveness of missile defense system, and other is study effect of solar flares. If there is going to be any doubt, it is about neutrinos and gravitational waves, because both we are working on it. So this is gravitational waves to know about this. And even the government of India is deeply invested in this, the knowledge of the gravitational waves. It is working with the US. India and US are working together on this, on a scheme known as LIGO. Laser interferometer or laser interferometry gravitational observation. So they are working on this. And this is again laser interfero space antenna. It's about 3 satellites that would be there, which will be observing it. NASA and European Space Agency are working together. So yeah, so this is about this thing. It's about it's a gravitational waves detector. And why are scientists so interested in gravitational waves? And first of all, to know about gravitational waves is very difficult. It's very difficult to comprehend them. Now, scientists are very interested because gravitational waves, they are distortions of the space-time traveling at speed of light. They happen when there is this black holes, collision of stars, some major event that has taken place very far away, which we cannot see. But these gravitational waves, the waves that were created, they travel and mostly undistorted. They don't get distorted. So the scientist can, if they can comprehend the gravitational waves, they can know more about the deeper sides of the universe. So that is the idea. They can pass unhindered by intervening mass. So that is the reason why they are looking into it. But the problem with gravitational waves is it is very difficult to detect them. So therefore, a lot of resources are required for this. Okay, now this laser interferometer space antenna is based on, it's not mentioned over here, it is based on Michelson, I'm writing correct spelling, Michelson interferometer. It is a group of three things basically arranged in a triangular way. So yeah, so they study the laser actually. It's basically interferometer is something to study the waves, extract information from superimposed waves. Okay, sixth question. Which of the following is our correct regarding government e-marketplace recently seen in news? I'll tell you something, even when we were preparing back then, that's about good around 10ish years, that time also this thing was there in news. So this government e-marketplace, it's basically a platform for public procurement. Government, etc., buys things on an electronic platform, so that corruption, etc., is not there. There is transparency in dealings, all those, and that's why this government e-marketplace is being used. It's kind of a e-commerce for government and people who are providing services. Fine. So the point number 2 is fairly correct. We may have a confusion over here that it says that it ensures a public procurement of goods and services in India done by government bodies. I think it's fairly well explained over here. Worth more than 5 lakh crore annually. This is something that you may not know, right? So there may be a question over here. First option, it operates under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. See, you can easily eliminate this. This is not about corporate affairs. It's about commerce. Corporate affairs deals with Ministry of Corporate Affairs about corporate affairs. So mergers, corporate governance. So those Companies Act, things under Companies Act is being basically implemented by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So this is not a corporate affairs, it is basically a matter of commerce. So Ministry of Commerce will look into it. Logical. So one is out. Two, I know it is correct because I have read this, but otherwise I would have had confusion over this fact over here. So B is the answer. So worth more than 5 lakh crore annually is carried out through online platform. Then you can look at this information. The procurement of goods and services by ministries and central public service enterprises is mandatory for goods and services available on GEF. Okay, so it's about the central this thing. Now, while doing this, I visited their website and I came across something interesting. Government eMarketplace, Shanghai, new initiative. It was there in the website itself. So what is this Shanghai? It is instant frictionless financing, end-to-end digital process, easy registration via Udyam and Aadhaar. Again, some more information over here. So basically, government is buying things from public, companies, etc., who are interested to sell. Now, some of these, and actually there is a condition on the government also that so much has to be bought from MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises. So to smaller companies, if the government gives a huge tender, so the smaller companies would require working capital, finances. So the government provides them loans. They grant them loans instantly, uncollateralized. That means they don't take something in return. So maybe at a higher rate, the government may be lending. So once thing is done, they are able to pay back the loan amount as well as the interest amount. So that is the idea. At the same time, it is promoting the MSME sector. Fine. So it's about frictionless financing to serve the government orders without hassle. But to do this, one has to register via Udyam and Aadhaar. So Aadhaar, of course, everything is by Aadhaar and Udyam. Udyam again means Udyams, companies. So if you look at the website, you will come to a registration platform where you have to put in the company details, etc. So you have to register via this. Next question. Consider the following statements with reference to sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation initiative. So first, and please, we'll read this also. Which of the following given above are not correct? Fine. So this is an initiative of the Ministry of Agriculture. Think about it. We're talking about sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation. It doesn't seem, logically speaking, it doesn't seem to be a domain of Ministry of Agriculture. It's actually Ministry of Petroleum. And Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, which is looking at creating an ecosystem for the production of compressed biogas from various waste and biomass sources. Fine. Now you can see which is the correct option. 6A is the answer. Right. So this is it. It's an initiative aimed at setting up compressed biogas. And the ministry concerned is Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Logically, agriculture is not there. Now one may still put it, affordable agriculture, biogas agriculture. Yeah, one can always do this. But again, here I would like to point out that there is also something known as Ministry of New and Renewable Energy Resources. That is a more probable option as compared to Ministry of Agriculture. Okay. You must visit their website and see what all technologies they are working on. It's very easy to find on their website. Next question. With reference to Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, always in news actually, which of the following statements are not Correct. It is a permanent intergovernmental organization. Correct. And this was preceded before the SCO. We had Shanghai 5 mechanism. This is also correct. So this statement is true. Its chairmanship rotates on a biannual basis. We don't know. Just we don't know. What if we don't know? By the way, it is on annual basis. India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan are observer states. This is wrong. India and Pakistan are full-time members. Fine. Afghanistan is an observer state. So this is false. Fine. So this is false. So which of the, anything with 1 is incorrect. So we're left with 2 and 3 as the answer. So even if we don't know this, we can attempt this. Fine. So SCO members, you should know. India and Pakistan both are members. Russia is Central Asian countries basically a part of it. Which of the is not part is what is important actually. I think Mongolia is not part of the SCO. Its chairmanship rotates on an annual basis, and Tajikistan is the chair for 2021. I think this is something we still need to work on, which is the present one, 2022. And for 2023, which country would be? Statement 3 is obviously not correct. Moving on to question number 8. Ban Rawats, recently seen in the news, is an endangered tribe from which of the following states? This sounds very odd, but if we can break this up, Ban plus Rawats. We have CDS Rawat also, right? So we know the state, Uttarakhand now. That becomes easy. So it's basically one. Ban is basically one, forest, Rawats. So the state is Uttarakhand. So there's basically an, obviously mentioned over here, endangered tribe. Some more information over here. So they are basically in this Uttarakhand. They are districts of Pithoragarh, Udham, Champawat, Udham Singh Nagar. They are pastoral people. They are basically nomadic, hunters and gatherers. They practice shifting cultivation. Fine, and most of them are now settled into valleys of the Mahakali River. Their existence is threatened because of developmental and wildlife related projects. Fine. Now, when I was looking at this Ban Rawats, we came to the deities, the various gods that they worship. So this seemed to be interesting, and it helped, from me basically prehistoric way of life, what they would have worshipped. From history point of view, I was interested into this. So yeah, we can read this. They worship sun known as Dio. So Masan, which is a potentially malevolent deity. The various deities is mentioned over here, and some form of Tibeto-Burman influence can be seen. Next question. With reference to the experimental advanced superconducting tokamak, recently seen in the news, consider the following statements. Fine. So superconducting tokamak. Yes, let's read the options. It is an advanced nuclear fission experimental research. It is part of International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Facility. Okay, now here we should be very clear. Tokamak, like one may think it's a supercomputer, get a doubt on this thing. And the other thing is obviously this nuclear reactor thing. So it's a nuclear reactor thing. This thing I want to be very clear on this thing. Because even supercomputers are named like this only. And you have this term superconducting. Semiconductor, superconducting. So that confusion may arise. So you should be clear this is associated with nuclear reactors. Now once we know that, okay, fine, this is nuclear reactor. Now let's look at the statements. It is an advanced nuclear fission experimental research device. Nuclear fission is not a news. All the nuclear reactors are most of it is actually Nuclear fission. Fission means splitting. Splitting. This is easy. The challenge is nuclear fusion, and fusion creates much more energy as compared to nuclear fission. But nuclear fusion creates a lot more energy when the atoms fuse together. But to come to that condition of fusion, it requires a lot more energy and it is not sustainable. But if we are able to do it, it will be great, especially from the climate change point of view. Okay, so it's obviously nuclear fusion. Nuclear fission is not the thing, it's fusion actually. So the one is wrong and two is actually correct. It is part of International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Facility. So yeah, so briefly, this is an internal designation. This internal designation HEFU Tokamak 7 upgrade, experimental superconducting Tokamak magnetic fusion energy reactor in Hefei, China. So this is associated with China. Okay. And China is a member of the ITER consortium. And East Experimental Advanced Supercomputing Tokamak East is a testbed for ITER technologies. I think this is clear even if we don't read that ITER as a part of this. From there also we can make sense of this. Now more on ITER. So in Latin it means the way forward. And it is the way towards to prove the feasibility of fusion as a large scale and carbon free source of energy. That's why it's the way. It is kind of mimicking the energy generated in the stars and sun. For example, sun is again working on nuclear fusion. Hydrogen becomes helium, fusion. Atoms come together, become helium. Okay, fusion reactor. Which countries are there? ITER members, China, European Union. Again, European Union means multiple countries. India, Japan, Korea, Russia, and US. The important thing is India is a member. Next question number 10. This can be tricky. Okay, so let's read the question. Consider the following statements with reference to H10N3. Bird flu recently seen in the news. Thing is that the bird flu or avian flu that I know is basically H5N1, which is very contagious. And once you are infected, human to human transmission may also take place. And that's what we have studied. It's highly pathogenic. H5N1. It's highly pathogenic avian influenza. That means it spreads. It's very, very contagious, basically. And human to human thing is also there. But when we see H10N3, which was recently there, so this is low pathogenic. So it doesn't spread very easily. So statement 1 is correct. And human to human transmission is very high. No. If it is spreading less, no. So it's not, we don't have much evidence. It's basically birds to animals that can happen, but not human to human. So A1 only is the answer. Next question. With reference to the SAGE project, consider the following statements. Okay. So first of all, what is the SAGE project? SAGE is basically Senior Care Aging Growth Engine. It's about it's basically having startups for elderly so that they can we can get one-stop access for elderly care products and services. Okay, and even if let's say some mind is not working, we can think of sage elderly, saint, sage, wise, wisdom comes with age, and again age can be seen over here also. Now, if we look at this, if we know that it is for startups for elderly and all, if we have that much information, then it should not be Ministry of Healthcare. Ministry of Healthcare is not into this domain over here. So we have another Ministry of Social Justice, which looks into all this. Accessible India and all those are actually part of Ministry of Social Justice. So one is wrong. It aims to select, support, and create a one-stop access of elderly care products and services by startups. This is obviously correct. So B is the answer. Next question. With reference to the India Cycles for Change challenge, I mean, obviously, if one can see cycles for change. So, challenge, consider the following statements. So, it's about promoting use of cycles, which are non polluting, of course. So, here again, not correct. So, let's see the statements. I'll keep marking it false or wrong, whatever. It was launched by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. That's not their domains. Having cycle tracks, promoting cycles, it's not new and renewable energy. Biogas maybe, but not this. So it's basically the domain of Ministry of Urban Development. So they will be looking into this, not new and renewable energy for sure. This is correct. The India program for the Institute of Transportation and Development Policy, this is correct. 3 is also incorrect. All cities with a population of more than 1 lakh, more than 5 lakh can participate. Fine. So, yeah, so obviously this is incorrect. So, 1 and 3 is the answer. Now, let's say we didn't know 1 lakh. We know that 1 is obviously incorrect. So, we can eliminate and we again get 2 and we get, sorry, 1 is, we have to mark incorrect, right? So 1 and 3 is the answer. So you have marked it correctly. Fine. So Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. All these are highlighted over here, important points. Now again, associated with Smart City, India Cycles for Change. Encourage site cities to experiment cycling and build confidence for city levels, scale up of cycling. Next question. Not really. It's obviously OPEC is always there in the news, but it's so much there in news that I consider it as static. Consider the following statements with reference to OPEC, Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. It was created at the Yalta Conference in September 1960. Yalta Conference is basically deciding the new world order after the Second World War. So OPEC is oil export is not their concern. Fine. So that was the thing. So it's basically the Baghdad conference in September 1960 by Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. This is the Yalta conference. It's about how Germany should be divided, what should be the terms. So these things were being discussed. In this, we have the big three, the presidents and the leaders of Britain, Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin. OPEC, you can see over here. Okay. It's obviously these countries are petroleum exporting countries. They have a kind of an oligarchy. They come together so that they can ensure best prices, fair and stable prices for the producers, the oil exporters. So 1 is incorrect, 2 is correct. Answer is B. Now, obviously, this is done. Now, what is OPEC and OPEC Plus? Which of the countries are member of OPEC countries and which are not OPEC countries? So this should be of our concern. So this is the map over here. What you should keep in mind that Russia is a major oil exporter, but Russia is not a member of the OPEC. It is a member of OPEC Plus. So OPEC Plus is basically oil exporting countries which are not part of the OPEC. So those are OPEC Plus. Next question, second last. With reference to the bluefin masir, consider the following statements. Believe me, I've taught this topic multiple times. I've prepared current affairs multiple times. This thing is asked. So it's just that June current affairs. So yeah. So bluefin masir ship, a fish. This ship is mainly found in the rivers of Deccan Plateau. Yes. It is a migratory species which moves upstream. Water is flowing, the fish moves upwards. Right. So this is again correct. This is something unique of this fish. It is classified as vulnerable in the IUCN red list. This is the problem. It is actually now classified as a thing of least concern. Okay, so 1 and 2 are your answers. So more information on this thing. This is the fish you can see. So from endangered to least concern. So I mentioned this wrong. So it was not vulnerable, it was endangered. Uh, it is also known as Tor Khudri, and it is a subspecies of Masir. It is mainly found in Mota Mula River east of Pune, which is again rivers of Deccan Plateau. They move upstream during rains. It is a good ecosystem indicator. It is very sensitive to dissolved oxygen, water, temperature, and sudden climatic changes. Last question. Devika River, recently seen in the news, merges which of the following rivers? It's River Ravi. So more on this thing, I have two things. One is the Devika River and why this thing is there in the news. So I have to cover that. Fine. So more on this thing, Devika River. It originates from the hilly Sudha Mahadev Temple, Udhampur, Jammu and Kashmir. Now, where is this temple located? So something more we have over here. It merges with the Ravi River, right? Flows down towards western Punjab, Pakistan. Okay. The river holds religious significance as it is revered by Hindus as the sister of river Ganga. In June 2020, Devika Bridge was inaugurated to help smooth passage of army convoys and vehicles. Why in news? So we have this river Devika project, which was to improve the condition of the Devika River under the National River Conservation Plan. What is this now? So under this, basically, it's about conservation of river, and the basic threats that a river has is pollutants, waste being thrown into the river, right? So those things have to be rectified. Ritual sacrifices are being done, so that again has a polluting effect. So those things are rectified via the National River Conservation Plan. So you can see bathing carts on the banks of Devika River will be developed. Construction of 3 sewage treatment plants. So sewage that is come, it is treated and then drained into the river. Then on completing of the project, the rivers will see reduction in pollution. So this was to be completed by June 2022. So this must be done. So now what more on NRCP? It is a centrally funded scheme. Fine, it's a centrally funded scheme. There is another class of schemes known as centrally sponsored schemes. So this is centrally funded. That means 100% of the money is going from the center. Okay. Programs for river conservation. Besides this, we have the National River. We have an NRCP. Then we have National Ganga River Basin Authority. So yeah, this is it. So this is it. This is the part one of your June current affairs, June 2022. So by a week we will be covering this. So I hope you liked it. Please do share, subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends for this initiative. Bye bye and all the best.